Pennsylvania Congressman Mike Kelly did vote for the bill. Thank you for joining us, Congressman.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Emily.
Okay, so Congressman, let's start with this. Something I think most people can agree on. Having a strong American military is an important priority. And no doubt the bill that you voted for and most people did in the House and Senate is absolutely wonderful for our military. It gives them an increase of $80 billion for 2018 and $85 billion for 2019. And that's, correct, I think, great. But let's go to the other side of that, and pardon me as I invoke the concerns of Senator Rand Paul here, who talked about how this is absolutely not a fiscally conservative bill, right? This is certainly a spend-heavy piece of legislation here. As a Republican, what is your rebuttal to that accusation?
Well, I think it's good for the senator to explain that and go on the floor and talk about it, but the reality it is, you're not given a choice between 2 or 3 different things. You're given a choice between the piece of legislation that's in front of you at the time. Look, we know our military has been so underfunded. I think what bothers me and almost every American, when our sons and daughters in uniform are willing to put their life on the line, they shouldn't be used as a bargaining chip. We have a responsibility. First responsibility we have is to protect our citizens. Our sons and daughters go out and defend us every day. That 1% of our population, all they were asking for is to be treated in the way they should. Under the Budget Control Act in 2011, we really have cut them in such a way that they're far, far behind. When half of the Navy aircraft can't be flown, when we have the smallest Air Force we've ever had in our history, when we don't have military readiness in our training in place, and when fully 40 or almost 80 people were killed last year in training accidents.
Sure.
Not in enemy combat. So you said, where are we failing our people? And we're not funding them at the right level. Now, all these other issues come in. I'm fine with that. That's a great issue. But the bill that we had to vote on was, are we going to fully fund our military? Our president was very clear. The commander-in-chief said
Congressman, listen, you need to convince me no further. I'm with you on the importance of the military spending, but we both know that this was not just a military spend-heavy bill. There was also billions, a lot of money, big money in other areas. And the president, if we could refer to his tweet, says specifically he lays that blame at the door of the Dems, saying that he had to include all these other dollars to make the Dems happy because there simply weren't enough Republicans to pass it without them. But the truth is, when you look at the numbers, Congressman, there are indeed, numbers-wise, enough Republicans in both the House and Senate to pass that legislation without a single Democratic vote. But it's in fact the Freedom Caucus and some other Republicans holding out on voting for said legislation, that becomes an issue. So when the president says, to avoid this kind of thing in the future, we need more Democrats in the House and the Senate in the midterms. And let's put that tweet up there so people can see it. It will certainly be a certain kind of Republican, right, Congressman Kelly, that needs to be in the House, because not all Republicans are going to go in on the president's agenda.
No, not everybody's going to go on the president's agenda, but I think everybody goes in on being fiscally responsible. Again, the president said he needs more Republicans, more people who are going to be fiscally responsible. This whole process is bicameral and bipartisan.
Yes.
In order to get one thing, you have to give it another. Our main concern, my main concern, and most of the folks that voted for this, was making sure we fully funded our military. General Mattis was very clear on the effects of what was going on. So when we talk about the type of government we have, it does require working on both sides.
Oh, bipartisan buy-in. Oh, Congressman, absolutely, no doubt. You're right about that. I want to wrap, because we're running out of time, but I want to finalize it with this. You yourself, Congressman, are a small business owner, and I love that you take it very seriously in your elected office to be what I call kind of a good steward of the American taxpayer dollars. And I think that's exactly why people put our congressmen and women into office. Do you think that this bill is being a good steward of the American taxpayer dollar?
I think what this bill was directed at our immediate needs going forward. I'd like to see a complete turnaround. In order to do that, we're going to have to look at, now keep in mind, Ebony, 2/3 of our budget under law has got to be spent. You can't touch it at all. It's mandatory. We have to take a look at what we can do at programs that have maybe far outgrown what they were designed to in the beginning. That's going to take a complete turnaround plan. That has to be taken care of, and that has to be taken care of by people who understand that at some point, where do we get the money to do this? And the answer is hardworking American taxpayers.
We'll leave it right there. Congressman Mike Kelly, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ebony.